Oh man. Okay. So I'm live on the air right now, and this is kind of unexpected. I wasn't really planning on doing this, but came home. We were at Autism Night Bowling, and I said, "Well, I got this new package in the studio. I might as well do a live unboxing and first impressions of it." Um, let's mute this other channel here so I don't get too much feedback. There we go. Um, so yeah, got the package in the studio and I haven't opened it up. I haven't checked it out. I've had 3 or 4 friends of mine telling me, "Oh, you have to get a Tomcat. You have to check out the Tomcat. It's not as bad as you think. It's not as bad as you think. It's not the Rhythm Wolf." Blah blah blah. So a little backstory on that first is I do have a Rhythm Wolf. I didn't buy it. It was given to me as a I don't know that gift is the proper word. And also, please join the live chat. I'll say hi. Let me say it right now. Hi. Okay, so join the live chat. If there's a problem with the audio or anything, certainly let me know in the live chat and I'll try and fix it. Google doesn't really have any way for me to monitor my own audio while I'm doing this. So, if things are wacky, that's how it is. Also, I have a chest cold, so just deal with it. Whatever, it's free content. Anyway, back to subject matter. So, yeah, I have a Rhythm Wolf, and if you've read my posts, I'm not really a big fan of it. I think for if you get one for free, it's sort of cool. Um, I, I'm really not a big fan of it, just because to me this is the epitome of like it's analog, so you should like it, but not necessarily mean that it's good because the voicing gets really out of whack. So when you start using the distortion on this thing, it really gets out of control. Just overall, it doesn't feel like it's refined in any way. It just feels like a bunch of circuits were slapped together and they said, okay, this is an analog drum machine, and that is what it is. That being said, form factor is not bad. It's got a cool step sequencer. Step sequencer could be better, but it's, for what it is, it's certainly not bad. I mean, you can do some cool stuff on it. So, and the build quality is really not bad on this thing. It's actually built pretty solid for a low price point machine. So I figured, whatever, Tomcat, let's check it out. So, taking this thing, I've got the power cord here for this one, and it lights up. Oh, and they say MPC pads or MPC style pads on these things. That's the kind of marketing that pisses me off. No, these are not MPC pads in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, they're made of silicone. Just because pads are made of silicone does not make them MPC pads. They do not have the kind of velocity response that something like an actual MPC has. So, yeah, don't try to bullshit us. So anyway, let me unplug this guy and I'll get to the unboxing. Oh, fun thing of note. So I have this, and I wasn't sure what it was at first. I was like, "Oh, is this a bra?" And then I was like, "No, it's definitely like a banana hammock or something." So check that out. Yeah, you can put your package in there. So I want to say shout out to Hex Inverter for sending me that. If you don't know about Hex Inverter, you can go check out his awesome drum modules. And he's got a new filter module called Red Dragon that you might want to check out also. Which once when he sent me this, it makes me think, well, maybe you could put your Red Dragon in there. I don't know. It's dirty. It's all bad. So, but whatever. Shout out to Hex Inverter for that. Anyway, let's dive into this thing. I got my little 4MS screwdriver, and we'll open this thing up and see what happens. I'm gonna poke a hole in this little plastic here. So I guess the difference between the Tomcat and the Rhythm Wolf is that the Rhythm Wolf is supposed to be a little bit more 808 inspired, whereas the Tomcat, from what I understand, is supposed to be more 909 inspired. So, really, that's all well and good. I just want it to be more refined. If they refine the synth voices a bit, it could actually be decent. It doesn't have to be terrible. So hold on. Yeah. So computing sound says what? You and a Tomcat? Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, most people know that I haven't been a fan of those in the past, but whatever. So we got the manual here. I'll set the manual aside for now. We can check that out later to see if there's anything of use. I do like it when companies use these things as opposed to just styrofoam because they're a little bit more biodegradable. So it's good for the environment. And power adapter, which I already have a power adapter. So maybe I'll actually take that out. Maybe we can do a side-by-side between the Rhythm Wolf and the Tomcat. And a box, which fell off my lap and I kicked it across the room. The Rhythm Wolf in my setup has been getting a lot of use. And I know you're like, well, Flux, you said you really didn't like the Rhythm Wolf. I don't. It gets a lot of use in my studio because I have a 22-month-old. So sometimes he wants to come in here and press buttons. So I just kind of like throw it in the crib and let him press the buttons on it because I don't really care about it. So, yeah. So again, join the live chat if you're watching. I see we got some viewers in here. So, layout is extremely similar to the Rhythm Wolf. Here's a Rhythm Wolf and Tomcat side by side. Pretty much identical layout, yeah. And obviously different color scheme. They changed the the howl to a mole, which is, whatever, who cares. And the pew and whoop switch, which is the square and triangle on the Rhythm Wolf. So let's plug it in and we'll test it out, and then I'll tell you what I think about it, whether or not it's any good. Hopefully it is. I'm gonna unplug my Tempest and I'll plug this thing in. Oh, you know what? All right, so we'll set this thing up like so. Just lay it down on here. I had it fitting in there a second ago. All right. So we'll toss it up there. It looks like you guys can see it. Are there a lot of presets and is it expandable? I have no idea about how many presets are in this thing. That's not something that I would think would be a big selling point on this because keep in mind the knobs are all analog. So it's not like you're MIDI mapping these knobs and it's not like you're saving where the knob positions are. So really it would just be patterns that you're saving. And on that level, I mean, how hard is it to pattern, to save a 16-step pattern? I don't know if it goes much further than that. I haven't dug really deep into these sequencers. They do have gate input and output. And don't ever ask me to clean my studio. Like I cleaned my studio just the other day, so I really don't want to hear it. This is clean for my studio. New, asking if it's a new product from Akai. It's not crazy new. It's been out for probably like 8-9 months, something like that. But worth checking out. So let's get some sound. In the meantime, I'll play the modular drums back here. Little Drummer Boy 2 plus the expansion module is what you'll be hearing, along with some hex inverter kick and snare. So you should be able to hear that okay while I'm setting up. You can let me know how it sounds in the live chat. That's right, it's mono. Okay. Yeah. They had the what was it? The musician's friend stupid deal of the day. So I should probably turn it on. All right. There it goes. It's doing its thing. And let's get some volume. And probably should turn my Tempest channels on. Turn that up too. Okay. Let's turn this up. Okay, so we can kind of hear that a little bit. Okay. Yeah, I'm reading what you guys are saying about the sound levels as well, so that we can kind of check it out. Because, like I said, I can't monitor my own levels, so bear with me. I'm just kind of watching the EQ and level on my mixer over here. Hopefully you're not getting too much of the box sound from the mic. You probably are. Snare sounds definitely better than the Rhythm Wolf, in my opinion. Little bit cheesy, I agree, but definitely better. That's for sure. Let's play with the tuning of that. I will say again, one of the same issues that the Rhythm Wolf has is that some of the parameters, they just don't have a good range to them as far as what you're trying to tweak. The tuning on the snare, I mean, listen. Now let's take the decay down. So the way they have the velocity set up on this thing is kind of ugly too. Let me try and... I really don't like how velocity is set up on this thing at all. Good Lord. What snare drum needs that long of a decay? $99. All right. Did you hear how long that decay was? Seriously? For a snare drum. Like, I mean, you don't think you could have fine-tuned that a little bit? And then if you go really light. So like velocity seems to be tied directly to noise level of your snare drum. And then you got a filter. It's like a high pass filter for your snare noise. And the tuning you can barely hear. I mean, to me, it's still yeah, and I think the decay is just for the noise. Yeah. Like when you tune it all the way down, you get a little bit of decent snare in there, but it like barely comes through. I mean, it's so quiet underneath of there, which is kind of, you can, if you really turn it all the way up. And then drop that. Let's drop that all the way down. And bring the filter up. But then if you hit it hard. I mean, the snare is definitely way, way, way better than the Rhythm Wolf snare. There's no doubt in my mind about that. I'd still like it a little bit more refined than that, but it's way better. Let's look at that kick again. Let's bring that pitch up a bit. trying to kind of like keep looking back to make sure my levels aren't too crazy. Kick is way better too, to be honest with you. But I'm one of those weirdos that kind of likes the 909 kick a little bit more than the 808 kick. Just because I like being able to get that initial snap. Yeah, and I will say the Volca Beats snare is horrible. I have a Volca Beats right here. And the Volca Beats snare, I did the modification to it. I added a capacitor to it, and that significantly improves how the Volca Beats snare sounds. But the Volca Beats snare is still the weakest link on this thing. I really like the rest of it, and I love the sequencer on it. I like the Volca stuff. I think it's really fun. I'd like to get a Volca FM sometime soon. Yeah, $99 isn't bad. So, and that's kind of why I was just like, well, whatever. Like, worst case scenario is I let my toddler play with it. But let's play with this pitch envelope on the kick a little bit. And I'm gonna go light velocity now, and then hard. And should I bring the camera in a little bit, guys? Let's bring that in just a hair. I gotta be careful what I show in here right now. I've got some stuff that you don't need to know about. All right, let's see. Okay. There we go. And by the way, I got this shirt from Mode Machines, and something about European shirts, but good Lord, do they make their sizes really tight. Maybe it's just because I'm a fat American, but by our standards, I'm skinny. So what's up with that? So the pitch envelope, not bad. It'd be cool if they tied like pitch envelope amount to velocity. Let's play with that tuning a little bit too. I'll turn the pitch envelope all the way down and we'll hear how high it. And you do get that little initial, I don't know if you guys can hear it, but there is an initial like little snap. Oh, what's up, Midiverse TV? I met them out at KnobCon. Really cool people. So definitely check out their channel. Yeah, so the kick drum overall, I'd say again, definitely more refined than the Rhythm Wolf. And for the price point, I mean, for $99, come on. So definitely cool. Definitely more usable, that's for sure. Let's play with this one. I think that pitch envelope's a little bit like they could have refined that way more. Like, do you really need when you have they've got the quote unquote disco toms off to the right? So do you really need that long of an envelope there? I think you could have refined that range and then played a little bit more with how much velocity affects it. That would have been a little bit better effort. Let's check out the clap. And there's actually a detent on the tuning for this one. So this one, you have a center detent, whereas the other ones so far you don't. I don't feel it on that one. I don't feel it on that one. So yeah, this one has a center detent. Clap's kind of cool. Let's check out the spread on that. Increase the decay. I wouldn't say thin. I'm reading Accurate Beats message here. I wouldn't say thin. Dry, yeah. Like that to me does not sound thin. I'm actually kind of liking the snare. I could see running that through some fuzz, or like the what is it? The swollen pickle, fuzz pedal. I think that would sound really good. Going through that, like a fuzz that has like some low end and some crunch. I think it would sound really good through. I could see me using that snare, to be honest with you. The kick is like ho hum. Like it's not terrible, and it's not very thick. It's a little on the thin side for this style of kick, but it's not horrible. I mean, like I'm also pretty critical of kick drums though. Like for instance, the Tempest. I personally feel like the Tempest has pretty weak kick drums. And you know, that's a caveat. I mean, you create your own sounds on it, so you know it's a full 4 oscillator synthesizer that you create your own sounds on. So yeah, you can make some thick sounds, but comparatively speaking, I had the Tempest and the Rhythm at the same time, and the Rhythm is much easier to get thick, beefy kick drums out of. The Hex Inverter Mutant bass drum, I can get thick, heavy kick drums out of. The Delptronics Little Drummer Boy 2, I can get thick, heavy kick drums out of. The Tempest is better at like more like a character of a kick drum. So like you can get like these kind of like industrial or like boom bap type kicks that are like kind of cracking. Whereas with something like the Rhythm, you get these rounder, more full kick drums that are just kind of more traditional in a way, as far as when you're thinking like, okay, I want that thick booming kick. This to me it doesn't have the same heft. It's not horrible, but it definitely doesn't have the heft. Clap's a little on the dirty side, which to me isn't a horrible thing. When you turn up the maul, you get some nice the maul sound on it, the distortion on it. It kind of helps it out a bit. See, the difference on this one and the Rhythm Wolf really is that distortion circuit is way more controlled. When you start using the distortion circuit on the Rhythm Wolf, everything kind of falls to shit. It just kind of like, it falls apart real fast, and you know, levels get out of whack really bad. Let's turn this up. I also don't like the dichotomy of how the closed and open hi-hats work here. So yeah, like that's another thing I hate is why in the world are you putting the open hi-hat first and then the closed hi-hat? Like no finger drummer maps it that way. Like it doesn't make any damn sense at all. Like the open hi-hat should always be on the outside. So whoever like designed that map is like, who the hell did you talk to before you know, what market research did you do for that? Yeah, Volcabeats kick I like a lot. I personally like sending Volcabeats kick through like a tube distortion, and you get like really nice harmonics will come out of it. So Starman Deluxe 2001 says best kick he's heard from a drum machine's been the MFB Tansbar. I don't know that I'd say best kick, but it's definitely a really nice kick. I like the Tansbar a lot. I hate the build quality of it. It just feels like very hollow and empty. It's like it's light, like you tap on it, and it just sounds like it could fall apart at any minute. But I haven't heard many actual build quality issues. But I like the Tansbar. I thought it was really cool. I was like this close to buying one, and but I don't have one. But I would say, as far as analog kicks are concerned, Rhythm was probably my favorite, but I just really don't like that user interface at all. I had to get rid of it just because, you know, for sound design purposes, it just didn't really speak to me. Maybe one day I'll get one again. But let's check out these Disco Toms. Looks like you got a lot of control for these ones too. You can make probably better kicks with this than you can with the actual kick drum. That's the whoop. And then the pew. Pitch envelope on this is better than the kick drum envelope. How we doing on volume here? Yeah, for the most part, I do tend to use synth kicks. I do tend to layer them with found sound recordings and that sort of stuff. Like when I do sounds for like dominant drums, which, you know, shameless plug on shop.fluxwithit.com. If you grab like the dominant drums pack, a lot of those ones I'll layer analog drums with found sounds. Like you know, I had some really cool drums where I took some Slingerland kick drums and then I coated the entire drum set in tinfoil, and then I sampled it, and then I went ahead and layered it up with some analog kick drums, and that was actually really cool. That is how I tend to use a lot of those. Tempest, on the other hand, is kind of the opposite. Tempest, for the most part, I like it by itself. Like the Tempest, you can make raw boom bap drums on straight away. Like, and I'm not even talking about using the sampling side of it. Like, you know, I'm talking about just doing like analog synthesis on it. You can make straight up raw boom bap drums on it, which is really dope. You can do that with Rhythm as well, but Rhythm has a much cleaner tone to it overall. But Tempest, that's probably one of the main reasons why I kept it, is because even though the sequencer, the MIDI is absolutely terrible in the Tempest. They should be ashamed of what they did with the MIDI on that thing. It's really embarrassingly bad. But for a sound design tool, it's really awesome. You can just make some kick-ass sounds with that thing. So the Disco Toms actually sound pretty full, bottom endy. I'd probably EQ them a bit, add a little bit more low end. It'd be cool if they added. Let's see. Let's see some of these presets that are in here. So I'm not gonna down talk these patterns much, because in truth, it's like you don't know where the sound designer had his knob set when they made these patterns. So maybe with some tweaking, you can make these patterns sound better. I hope. Honestly, this one actually sounds better with the maul up about halfway, whereas the Rhythm Wolf, in my opinion, if you turn the distortion up, the whole thing just sounded horrible. Here, I'll take it. This is without maul up at all. You know, I don't know whether or not it's fixed to note values like that. And as far as the hats having a choke function, I believe it does. But the truth is that the open hat is so short, and then it's really weird, man. It's like you adjust the decay, and it's like, and because how I don't know. I really hate how they do the hats on this. It doesn't sound like it has a choke on it, but yeah, I don't know. I just really can't stand the way that they did that. And then we'll bring that maul up. Let's bring it all the way up. I'll try to watch the level. And, you know, Mr. Irrelevant says the presets sound like presets. And to me, it's like, you know, I mean, presets can be cool, man. Like, I'm not, you know, as, you know, the way I look at it is like when I'm sound designing, when I'm making music, I just want to make music, and I'll grab a preset and then I'll tweak it from there. But when I'm sound designing, I usually just start from an initialized patch. For patterns like this, I mean, they're not really, they're not super inspiring, but whatever, you know. I don't think this thing has ratcheting or anything like that. I like that the disco toms is not just a tom. I mean, you can actually use it as another kick drum, which is kind of cool. Because I rarely use analog toms in anything. Okay. Okay, so it looks like it gives you what, like the first 8, and then the rest are blank. Yeah. Okay, so it gives you the 8 presets, which I'm like, I probably would have filled them all up and then just let people erase them or whatever, but not really a big deal one way or the other. You can play the toms by the keys on here. So the toms are basically the same as the synth line on the Rhythm Wolf. Let me check something here. Hold on. You know what? Hang on. I want to just double check that I'm sending you guys the best audio. I'll talk about monologue in just a second. So. Does that sound any different to you guys? So I was just adjusting my stereo spread on this thing a little bit. So, yeah, see, I really doubt that Google Hangouts is actually sending a proper stereo signal anyway. Oh, peace out to Australia. My son is dying to go to Australia. So if you know me on Facebook, definitely hit me up because I'm trying to find people that I know in Australia because sometime in the next probably 2 years, I'm going to be going out there. I mean, the kick drum to me is much improved. Let me grab. You guys want to see me do some side by sides with some different analog drums? Like I could do. Got Tom Cat, Tempest, Rhythm Wolf, a bunch of analog drums in the modular behind me. What else? What other drum machines do I got? I got some other ones around here somewhere. Everything's kind of a mess right now because I've been working on another project that I cannot wait to tell people about, but it's still on hush hush. Okay, so yeah, let's grab. Got an MPC over there. Let's grab this. I'm gonna see if I can't do it in a kind of funky way. I don't know if this is gonna work or not. Let's see if this works. So I got that plugged in. I'm gonna need to plug this other power cable in. And the power cable. I gotta find a Sharpie. I usually like to label my power supplies as soon as I take them out. I like to write the name on them. Because like this one, it doesn't actually say what it goes to. It's a whole lot easier than reading the input output regulations and all that. All right, let me I'm gonna like be dipping around so I can grab a power selector. Okay. Okay. Now, I'm not sure exactly how this is going to work, so bear with me, people. I like that instead of having a synth out, like so Rhythm Wolf has main out and then synth out, Tomcat has main out and then phono out. So I like that more because then I could do things like do an effect send with it basically and like play with some effects separately. All right, let's see how I'm going to get this to work. I'm going to try and send one through one channel and the other through the other channel. Cool. I'll definitely accept that friend request. I'm on Facebook, Ken Flux Pierce. Okay, so let's see if you guys are getting this. You guys getting that? I'm trying to set up fairly similar snares real quick, just to kind of get an idea of some stuff. So the differences on the snare is, so you have volume, tuning, noise, decay. On the Tomcat, you have volume, tuning, filter, decay. So you don't get control over how much of that noise you get, but you get control over how the noise sounds. Okay, so sorry, my monitor placement's crazy right now. Oh, I've been doing some silly stuff in the studio lately. All right. Yeah, like the decay envelope is far more refined on the Tomcat, even though it's still like crazy long. Like I have them set pretty close to each other right now. The snare drum on the Tomcat sounds way better to me. It says, the bass is more in the Rhythm Wolf. The Tomcat is more of a snappy snare sound. So this is Tom. Hold on. And you know what? I'm going to mute my mic just for a second, just so you're not getting the sound of this microphone being right there. Like you shouldn't get too much anyway, but just to be on the safe side. All right. So to me, in person, there's definitely way more bass in the snare drum on the Rhythm Wolf. To me, I still like the way the snare on the Tomcat sounds a bit more, even though the Rhythm Wolf snare is more beefy, right? Because I want the kick to be more beefy. I want the snare to be more cutting. What I'll say about that, though, is I wish that the skin sound, meaning the oscillator sound of the Tomcat, was a bit louder, or at least somewhat controllable. And this is where we get into like the cost cutting measures. You know, they have to decide. They only have 4 parameters on here, and one of them is volume. So really only 3 parameters that you can play with. So they have to decide what the hell they're going to do with those parameters. So it's understandable that nobody's going to be completely happy, you know? But I just would have liked it to be a little bit more beefy on the Tomcat. But I still prefer its envelope sound and just in general. Let's get to that kick drum though, because everybody wants to know about analog kicks, right? Let's set these up kind of similar. And the other thing about this is it feels almost like a guitar product designer laid this thing out. And the reason why I say that is, so instead of attack being an envelope knob that you turn up to make the attack longer, it's an attack knob, meaning like attack amount. But it doesn't say attack amount. It just says attack. So you turn it up to increase the speed of attack. So it's like, it's kind of similar to how like a guitar pedal would be. So it's kind of backwards for synth guys. And that's just like that little like snap that you get at the front of the kick. So this is the longest that you're going to get out of this kick drum. And I'll tune up. And keep in mind, I do have howl up just about like a quarter of the way. I'll turn it all the way down just so you can hear it clean. But it, you know, I keep it up just a little bit because the added harmonics, one, it's going to make it translate through YouTube a little bit better. Yeah, it's not attack time, it's attack amount. But yeah, with a little bit of harmonics from the fuzz, it's going to translate through YouTube a little bit better, I think. So that's why I have it up there. Let me just turn this up so it's a little bit. shorten this decay because obviously the decay on this one goes way longer. Let's try that again. Still going. It just now fades out. So I'll turn tune all the way. Considerably longer on the Tomcat. So sound design wise, you definitely have a lot more to play with on the Tomcat for the kicks. Let's take this down a short. So in a kind of interesting twist, so the pitch envelope is sort of similar to the attack amount on Rhythm Wolf, but of course it's done 909 style, so you get that pew kind of sound to it. You like my onomatopoeia on that, right? So different flavors. And let's add a lot more maul to the Tomcat. See, now we're getting closer to where I'm at a quarter per, the amount on the rhythm. Let's go all the way up. It just, to me, like overall, the Tomcat sounds way more refined. It's limited by its design and its purpose, meaning being low cost and it's compact, which it's not a bad thing. Like, to me, it's not a bad design as far as how it's laid out and all. I think it's really cool. And considering that I don't remember what the price difference between these and the Volcas were when they first came out, but it was pretty close. And I mean, if you consider that kind of stuff, it's pretty interesting. I like battery powered stuff a lot. The pitch envelope on Tomcat, so I see you saying it's ridiculous. I kind of disagree with that. That stuff can really come in handy, especially when you're layering stuff up. What I would like is just for it to be more refined as far as the time and amount. So like, I like it if the time can be shorter, but the amount be really great, you can get these really hard cracking kicks because you get this pitch. Like, what does it? My favorite out of all these analog drums or, analog model drums even is the Audio Damage Neuron, which it's a digital Eurorack module, but it's a complex drum module. Man, you can use the pitch envelope on that to put such a crack on your kick drum. It's really cool. And their Boom Shack, their new analog one does it too. But I haven't tried that since like an early prototype, so I don't want to speak too bluntly about that. But that stuff, those pitch envelopes can be really useful when you're designing a kick drum. So like usually I'll keep them really short like that. So you're just getting like a pop on it. So how loud is my finger tapping coming through on here, by the way? See, when you go really low pitch, right? So I have a really low pitch kick drum, but I have just about, I'm up around like 9 o'clock or so on that pitch envelope. And you get that, it helps it punch through the mix, especially when you throw a compressor on it. And it does get pretty darn low. I mean, here, how about we raise this thing up like this? Maybe it'll be better up out of the way. So getting back to some of the other sounds on the Rhythm Wolf. I actually really like the wood block on this thing, the percussion. I don't know if these are the exact same hats, but they suck just as much. They sound pretty much the same. The hats suck. I can't stand them. And then you got the bass. Which is like a really bad version of it. 303, I guess. Like it gives you that acid sound. But if you put it up next to something like a Zox box, like it's nowhere near what a 303 sounds like. I don't have an actual 303, so I'm not going to sit there and say the Zox box is 100% 303. I know somebody like Paul Barker or somebody would punch me in the face, but I mean, close enough. You can do some cool stuff with the bass on that thing, but it's just not, you know, it doesn't really speak to me that much, and it's hard to keep it in proper tune with the rest of the device. So anyway, that's basically what I wanted to show is what this thing's all about. I think, you know, if you can grab one for a steal, it's worth it. Just because it's, you know, new sound set for you. You can clock it from your modular, which is cool, or you can clock your modular from it. MIDI in and out, USB. It's kind of cool, you know. Definitely more refined. You know, it's no $500-600 drum machine, but if you can pick one up for a steal, why not? You know, definitely kind of cool. So anyway, I'll talk to you all later. I gotta run and get yelled at. So peace. And thanks for coming into the live chat and all that good stuff too. I'm gonna hit stop.